You know, it's funny to think that some of the most powerful health tools we have aren't some new high-tech invention. They're actually ancient practices we've kind of forgotten about. Today, we're diving deep into the world of fermented foods. We're going to rediscover this incredible partnership with microbes that our bodies, believe it or not, still remember. So, let's get into the magic of microbial alchemy.
For so many people, it all starts with just one taste. For Chef Catherine Lucas, her first bite of real, traditional sauerkraut right out of the barrel in a German farmer's cellar, well, it was a complete revelation. This was not the mushy, sour stuff from a can. No way. It was mild, it was tart, crunchy, and it was alive. And that single experience, that fizz on her tongue, kicked off a whole journey to figure out what was really going on.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll look at how we kind of lost touch with these microbial allies in the first place. Then, we'll break down what fermentation actually is. After that, we are going to get into two huge health benefits, a total metabolic reset and unlocking the nutrients in your food. And finally, we'll talk about what it really means to reclaim this ancient partnership. Okay, so to really get why fermented foods feel like this brand new discovery, we first have to understand why they disappeared from our diets. And it all started with a war we didn't even know we were fighting. Back in the 19th century, Louis Pasteur's work on germ theory was, it was absolutely revolutionary. It saved countless lives, no question. But it had this massive, unintended side effect. It basically turned all microbes into the enemy. We became afraid of them. And that fear led directly to things like pasteurization and an industrial food system obsessed with making everything sterile and shelf-stable, replacing these living, traditional foods with, well, their dead, canned versions.
And wow, this slide just lays out the consequences perfectly. When scientists compare the gut microbiomes of modern hunter-gatherer tribes with ours, the difference is just staggering. Theirs are buzzing with diversity. Ours, scientists literally call it the impoverished Western gut. And here's the kicker. While they might have some issues we don't, they have almost none of our modern problems, like diabetes, heart disease, or autoimmune disorders.
Okay, so if waging war on microbes has backfired, what happens when we invite them back to the dinner table? Let's pull back the curtain on the mechanics of fermentation.
So at its heart, fermentation is super simple. All you're doing is introducing some good guy microorganisms, like bacteria, to a food. And then those little bacteria just go to town, eating their favorite meal, carbs. They gobble up the starches and sugars in the food, and in doing that, they transform it into something completely new and different.
And you probably don't even realize how many of these foods are already in your life. We're talking about the tangy crunch of sauerkraut and kimchi, creamy yogurt and kefir, but also real sourdough bread, tofu, kombucha, and yep, even your morning coffee and every alcoholic beverage out there. They're all the result of this amazing microbial makeover.
All right, now for the really cool part. What do these transformed foods actually do inside our bodies? Well, the first major benefit is a huge, profound impact on our entire metabolism.
Okay, so this is crucial. Because the bacteria have already eaten most of the sugars and starches for you, there's way less for your body to process. This just tanks the food's glycemic load. So for example, a slice of true, long-fermented sourdough bread is going to cause a much smaller spike in your blood sugar and insulin than a slice of regular factory-made bread. The bacteria basically did the hard work for you. But it's not just about what the bacteria take away, it's what they leave behind. And they leave these incredible little gifts called short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs. These are the molecules that give fermented foods that signature tart, tangy flavor. Our ancestors' diets used to be full of them, but because we've avoided these foods for so long, they're now almost gone from the modern diet.
Now just look at what these things can do. SCFAs are an absolute metabolic powerhouse. They are the primary fuel for the cells that line your gut. They help seal up your gut barrier, which helps prevent leaky gut. They cool down inflammation all over your body. They help you make new mitochondria, which are the little power plants in all your cells. And they even improve how sensitive your body is to insulin. It's just incredible stuff.
But the benefits do not stop there. This next part is something most people have absolutely no idea about. Fermentation doesn't just add new things to your food, it also unlocks the nutrition that's already in there by taking down the plant's natural defense systems.
So think about it. Plants can't run away from things that want to eat them, right? So they develop chemical defenses. And a lot of these are what we call anti-nutrients. They're compounds that literally latch on to essential minerals like iron, zinc, and calcium, and they stop our bodies from being able to absorb them. So even if a food is technically full of minerals, these anti-nutrients can mean you're not getting any of the benefit. And you've probably heard of some of these before. There's phytic acid, which is in a lot of grains and seeds. You've got lectins in legumes and grains. Oxalates are in a lot of leafy greens and nuts. And even tannins, the stuff in tea and coffee, can block iron absorption. This is where our microbes become the heroes of the story. During fermentation, all that microbial activity just starts to systematically break down these anti-nutrient compounds. They are like microscopic little locksmiths, dismantling the plant's defenses and setting all those minerals free so our bodies can actually absorb and use them.
And we are not talking about a small effect here. I mean, just look at this case study on cassava. Fermenting it reduces naturally occurring cyanide by 86%. Tannins drop by 73%. Phytic acid down 72%. It literally transforms a food that could be harmful into something that's safe and way more nutritious.
So, when you put all of this incredible science together, you start to realize this is about way more than just a diet hack. This is about reconnecting with a really fundamental part of what it means to be human. Seriously, no matter where you look in the world, every single culture has a fermentation tradition. That's not a coincidence. It's an ancient symbiotic partnership. The microbes get a safe home and plenty to eat, and in return, they preserve our food, they make it healthier for us, and they create these absolutely incredible flavors.
And there's this beautiful Korean concept that just captures this perfectly. It's called sanmat, which translates to hand taste. It's this idea that the unique microbes on a cook's hands are what give their kimchi its special, one-of-a-kind flavor. It's a literal expression of that person, right there in the food.
And that just leads to this really powerful idea. When you ferment something yourself at home, you're not just following a recipe. You're cultivating your own microbial culture. You're passing on your family's hand taste. You are creating a living, breathing, edible heirloom that is completely unique to you and your family. So, we want to leave you with this thought to chew on. We're so used to thinking about food as just fuel, calories, macros, nutrients. But what if it's more than that? What if your food is actually a living ecosystem, a direct connection to our ancestors, a partnership with this vast microbial world, and a family heirloom, all rolled into one delicious, fizzing bite?